Although I thought I talked at length about how to make the best offer you can on a property, since there's so many bids being made these days. Basically, the main strategy I have is simplify and make listing agents make their work easier. I'm going to read off my list on my phone, and more straightforward and clear for the listing agent. The easier you make their job, the more likely they are to appreciate your bid. You want to get the application through DU or LP and clear all the conditions. And then you want to show that as well. You want to explain the DU and you want to explain the LP. I would gladly do that for you in a video. I can explain it to the buyer's agent and the listing agent through a video. Explains everything there is to know about what the DU findings are and the conditions that remain. Explains all the work details, W-2, income, the middle credit score, et cetera, et cetera. It's a fallacy that you can't ask the credit score. I can give you the credit score through a DU finding. So here's a strategy. Number one, most important by far, this is the most important strategy. You want to contact the listing agent. Now, when I say contact, you want to call them, leave a message. You want to make a video and send it to them. And you want to send texts and emails trying to discern exactly what it is that the sellers are looking for most. Their priority list is what's key. You want to call the listing agent before submitting your offer. You leave a message, you send them a video, and you always follow up and find out what is important to the seller, what's most important, what's second most important, what's third most important. A priority list would be best. Okay, so two, you want to always include an offer checklist. Offer checklist should include things like property inspection, time limits, the home warranty, possession, how that's going to go down, the closing date, the EMD amount, the earnest money deposit amount, how high or how low, etc. These are all options in an offer. The type of financing can change, and you might have a backup. You might move to cash. You might be able to move from FHA to a conventional. You want to tell them about that. The price, of course, is paramount. The price is paramount, and there's a clause you can put in there about the pricing as well. Personal property might be included on the offer items. So that's a list of offer items. I can put that in the explanation to the video. You want to deliver your offer to the listing agent in person, so you can get a back and forth feedback. At the very least, in person. Secondary would be making a video explaining everything in person, maybe with a Zoom, having the paper on the computer and doing a Zoom about it. That's one way to do the DU findings and the LP findings as well. You want to, and or with the offer, you want to do it in person and or with video, maybe both. Effectively, you want to effectively articulate all the highlights. And a video might be more effective than in person because they can review it. Okay, so the larger EMD, the Earnest Money Deposit, shows the seriousness and financial ability of the buyer. So you want to increase that as much as possible, I think. A buyer's personalized letter to the seller, that's very iffy, very ethical. That's entirely up to, I don't like to talk about that really, but you can explain in great detail why the buyer loves the home. That seems like a reasonable thing you could express. You want to stay away from ethnicity, kids, etc. Stick to the property and its amenities. Edify the property. Talk about the property. It's a classic. Always edify the property when talking to a seller. You never want to point out the pitfalls. You always want to tell them all the good points. But I mean, if you have to point out the pitfalls, you can as well. I don't recommend that necessarily. Stick to property, and I think you're going to be more ethical. But that's a very, very thorny issue, in my opinion. Okay, offer free occupancy, a week or two or a few weeks, no rent. Lowers their anxiety about finding the next place they're going to live or whatever. People don't like to rent their house back. They don't like that, having to pay for the house they lived in. Okay, so write an escalation clause into your offer. This is a key one. State your buyer will pay X amount of dollars above the highest offer. keep in mind, this is getting more common. Others may do this as well. So that's an interesting strategy, quite useful. Another idea is bring your inspector to the showing. This works well because it's going to take about an hour to an hour and a half for a very positive showing. If the buyer likes what they're seeing, the home inspector might see enough to convince the buyer that it's okay to ease the inspection contingency. It's a win-win because it's a more appealing offer and the buyer is more comfortable. But again, be very careful and cautious. Make sure that they can afford to make the repairs if there are any to be made. Hopefully there won't be any repairs. Okay, so bring your inspector to the showing. Have your lender call listing agent to present the buyer's approval. So important. I would say call. You can show the details. You can show the middle credit score. You can show where the income's coming from. You can share aspects of the approval. Maybe not absolutely everything. You're not going to show the social security number, etc. Is it W-2? Are they W-2? Are they self-employed, etc., etc. You want to verify down payment, type of loan, ID potential hiccups up front. Lender needs to be proactive in this. I think they should make a video and send that because that makes the most sense to me, to give listing agent confidence. Always better on video, I think, my opinion, because you can zoom and you can email it to each person. You want to double check that they got it, double check that they watched it, with a phone call for them to ask questions after they watched it several times and comprehended it perfectly. So those are ideas for making your best offer. I know I've gone on at length. Again, the offer checklist is an important thing. Probably should go over the fact that VA and FHAs are no worse than conventional, really, these days. Times have changed. Some lenders won't share the DU or LP. Keep that in mind. In my opinion, you might not want to work with that lender. I shouldn't say anything like that. But if they won't share the DU LP, find out beforehand. Very important. You want to shorten your contingencies, the investigation contingencies. Get them done quickly. I think I said that before. Get basic inspection done in 5 to 10 days, and receive and review seller disclosures. The sooner you remove the contingencies, the better. Same for appraisal and loan contingencies. You want to pick the best lender. This is why lender matters. The quicker the better. Appraiser ordered in 1 day. Loan approved in 10 days. That would be amazing. Or 21 days, as soon as possible. We like to get our loans approved in time to close, of course. That's the key. Okay, so here is an interesting thing I'd like to read to you. Quote, buyer agrees to pay up to $20,000 over the appraised value, not to exceed the purchase price if the appraisal comes in low, unquote. Make this crystal clear, in person and in video, Zoom, emailed, and corroborated with call and text. I always say three-pronged approaches is the best way to approach communication. Three-pronged, with reciprocal. So that's the clause you'd put in the contract. Basic. You want to hammer that out in perfection. Minimum property requirements for VA and FHA. A few $100. Let's say it's missing a carbon dioxide detectors. So you can put a clause in there too. An appraisal clause. Quote, buyer shall pay up to X $1,000. Appraisal required repairs if needed and necessary. 90% of the time, you're not going to have any, but this would get rid of that anxiety or qualm with regards to these FHA. You can have the same thing with the conventional. So FHA, VA, no, not really that different. So escalation clause, now in use and common. Keep that in mind. Quote, buyer hereby agrees to pay X thousands of dollars above highest offer received by seller up to, name your price, 600,000, an exact price, can do a max. Seller shall provide proof of this offer, unquote. I am not a lawyer. I'm not a real estate attorney. I am not suggesting you use my words. do not use my words. Get a professional real estate attorney to write this up properly. These are my suggestions. They're just ideas off the top of my head. Again, if you want all my ideas, reach out. My name is James Graff. You can reach me absolutely anytime, day or night. Always my pleasure, weekends, holidays. Love to talk to people. 732-500-6883. Those are some ideas, not in stone, maybe not the best ideas. So seek a professional, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Okay.